Hi, I'm Janelle Swanson. I'm the chairperson of the Speech and Language Department for Prairie Lakes AEA. Actually, I'm just getting ready and doing some planning for our next department meeting. The speech language pathologists at Prairie Lakes AEA continually learn more and more and more because our services have changed a lot in the last few years. We still do those services that people are used to us providing, the articulation and voice and fluency. But the area of language has expanded a lot in the last few years because of its high impact on other student achievement in all areas of academics. So we need to continually provide more and more support to our SLPs to be able to provide those services. We also provide lots of different service delivery options, and that means that sometimes we work with skill building and work with individual children, but we also work with whole classrooms. We consult with teachers. We help buildings look at their data and figure out what their needs are, and we even look at the district's needs. And so we are busier all the time and need to hone in those skills. But I really actually need to get back to planning. I want you to hear from some other people to hear about what the Prairie Lakes SLPs do. Thank you.
I think school-based speech pathologists have it great. My day is never the same, so I don't have to worry about getting into a rut. Sometimes I'm working with children who are 1 or 1.5. Sometimes I'm working with high school students that have very severe communication delays, and so they need something else to help them communicate. And I have preschool kids kind of in the middle, so my day is never the same. Sometimes I'm working with teachers and sometimes with parents.
It's fun that there's a lot of variety. You'd think that it would be the same from place to place, but there's so much variety in the way you can serve kids, and you're not just doing one thing, you're not just pulling them out and working on one thing. It's different curriculums, different ways of serving the kids, and each child has different needs and responds differently to how you're going to treat them. So it's fun to figure out, what am I going to do with this kid to get him to learn this skill?
I think that people still tend to view us as being speech therapists in the schools and have sort of a medical model, that we come into the schools, that we find kids who have speech problems, and that we fix those problems. In reality, we do so much more. We're very much literacy-based now. We are working with teachers to use general education curriculum to help children with their communication skills, and that includes language, listening, it includes comprehension, vocabulary. So very much I think of myself as a communication interventionist rather than as a speech therapist.
What I like most about my job is the variety. Every day is different, and every moment throughout the day is different. I'm working with kids all day long in one form or another. They may be from preschool on up through high school. I also get to interact with adults. I'm involved in supporting teachers in the classroom. I'm involved in the early literacy teams within the buildings that I'm working in. So my day is broken up with multiple tasks and a variety of activities.
It is always thought of our SLPs taking kids out of the classroom and working with them, which she does a great job. But our SLP also goes into the classroom. It could be team teaching with a whole group. It could be working with a small group of students. It might be working one-on-one right in the same classroom with the rest of the students. So it's not always take the student out of the classroom.
I think an area that a lot of people don't really appreciate about a speech-language pathologist's role is how diverse we are. We are, you know, a lot of people think of speech pathologists, they think of artic problems, sound differences. But when you look at a preschool level, you're looking at the phonological disabilities or unintelligible kids. You know, we're responsible for that. We're responsible for all language issues, for vocabulary or syntax or grammar. Fluency, it's another area that we're responsible for. Voice concerns. We're becoming more involved with the reading initiative, with the assessment and interventions, and I don't think sometimes people realize how diverse we really are and how many hats we wear.
I always try to explain it as we work with anything that involves communication. So that could be, you know, talking to your buddy, gestures, anything that helps a child to succeed in school as with regards to communication. And I feel like a lot of times people don't see the broad range, they just see the things that are more observable, like the R's and the S's and the things of that nature. So
We are co-teaching with teachers in classrooms. We are training teachers, whether they're preschool teachers, K through 12, how to use research-based strategies to help kids use communication skills and to develop their language and literacy skills. We are actually going into classes and modeling best strategies, and I'll try to give some examples. For example, we might go into a preschool classroom and do story lessons with kids and actually model how to do interactive story readings in a way that enhances vocabulary development, language development, and most of all, early reading and early literacy.
I also serve severe and profound classrooms. That work is mostly consultative. I go in and I talk with the teacher about children's communication system. I work with the children occasionally, maybe working with their specific communication system if we're starting a new one or if there's something that's not quite working right. But that's mostly consultative with the teachers.
I have a daughter who is 11 now, but was diagnosed at birth with a hearing loss, a significant hearing loss. And when she was born, there was a lot of ifs and the unknown, and just didn't know what was going to happen. And immediately the hospital said, we'll contact your AEA and they will help you. And by the time we got home, she was in the hospital a month, and when we got home we had a phone call, we had several visits. So it started from the very beginning of her life.
I teach children from birth to 3. Some of the teaching goes on at home. Sometimes we have them come into the office. Some of the work is directly with the student, but most of the work is really talking with the parents about how to teach the children language skills on a daily basis, since we're only there for a pretty short amount of time.
And the speech services, the speech and language pathologist that worked with her, she's had several through the course of her 11 years, and each one has just added on to what the one before has done. And I remember when she was 3 years old, we had just moved to a new house and it had a fireplace, the first time we'd ever had a fireplace. And at Christmas time, in Christmas Eve, I was tucking her in, and as I kissed her goodnight, she looked at me, she says, I'm gonna listen to see if Santa comes. That was the best present I'd ever had. That couldn't have been more normal for a little child to anticipate the arrival of Santa. And for her to be able to verbally express her joy at that season, I haven't received any other better presents than that, for her to be able to say that.
What I love most about my job is seeing success with the kids, and when you finally get a child to say a certain sound or to really do well, then you kind of feel like you've done your job and that you're making progress, and I feel like that's the most exciting part.
Well, I'm not sure anybody shared this with you yet, but for serving 14 counties, Prairie Lakes AEA speech language pathologists often spend a lot of time here on the road. We most often have more than one school. We travel to schools, districts, do training all over, and provide services in the homes too. So sometimes this is our home away from home.
We really, as speech-language pathologists, provide quite an array of options in the schools.
I always approach the teacher and say, how can I best support you? What would you like to see me doing, to incorporate what you're doing in the classroom with my students?
Helping us design our teachers, helping our teachers, our administrative team, what does our professional development look like? How does it fit the needs of our students? And our SLP is able to dig right in there with us, get down the nitty-gritty, analyze the data, and then once we analyze the data, how does it help us to become better teachers, better instructors for our students to deliver the instruction for the needs that the data is telling us.
I want people to know that I'm a team member and that I'm here as a problem solver and a collaborator, someone who wants to help every student succeed.
The preschool teachers and I will sit down every week and talk about what they're going to be doing with their curriculum for the next week. And then what I'll do is plan vocabulary pictures, and I'll make pictures for the students to bring home, introduce them at circle time so that there's a lot of repetition of those concepts, those words that they need to know in that setting. So that's one way that I've been working with the teachers to help the kids learn more language and vocabulary.
Over the last 3 or 5 years, I think my role has changed a lot from our transition from special education more into the regular education role. I'm on a lot more teams. We're on a district leadership team for one of my districts. We're on a core teams for both of my districts. We're on child study teams. We're on literacy teams, and all of that really the bulk of that focuses on regular education students. So that is a huge change or a huge shift in our jobs and our responsibilities over the last 3 or 5 years. And it's a nice change.
I think one of the best programs that AEA has trained SLPs and others to implement in our schools is DIBLS, the Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills. We have gone into schools and continue to do that and work with the school team to assess how children are developing their early sound development, their early listening skills. We are training teachers to do the assessments, and we are helping with interventions so that all children can be identified at the earliest age possible who are at risk for early literacy issues. And we're really making a difference, and our Iowa Test of Basic Skills scores are showing it. Our data is showing it, that we are really impacting literacy.
The people that I work with, some of the teachers that I've worked with in the schools for a very long time have become some of my very, very good friends outside of work. And then there's the team that I work with here at the AEA. There's some days that are challenging, but I don't have to face those challenges by myself because my team is there to support me, and they are going through the bad times with me or the challenges with me.
Well, let me think. I think we're knowledgeable. I think we're energetic. I think we're, what's the word? Help me with the word where we're proactive. Is that the word I want?
They bring a warmth, a human side that the parents need. I was given, and my husband were given the feeling that what we couldn't do for our child or for, at home was being done in the schools, but it was being done in the way that we would do it, with sincerity and respect and a genuine love for these children, that really they want the best possible outcome for these children.
They're always there for us, and we think of them not just as AEA, school district, parents, teachers. We think of us all working together as one for one common goal, and that's to increase student achievement and success for kids.